Hey, what's up everybody? I finally do some pickup videos here to where it'd either be just showing off one thing or maybe multiples, depends on how I feel. Hence, I haven't been feeling the greatest. That's why it's been a little bit. But when I've gotten out, I've been trying to hit up Big Mike occasionally, and I've gotten some freaking cool stuff from him. And when it comes to video game related stuff, oh, definitely something cool yesterday. I seriously doubt if I were ever find one in this good a condition unless it's like eBay or something, and probably be a bit costly, which on the majority of stuff I've gotten from them, I've done it through trade. I've just been going through all my miscellaneous stuff to where it's just things I could give a crap about, but stuff I know that he could sell in the store, just doing it that way. So this was flat out trade deal. And right off the bat, when you guys look this up, you're going to see the more commercial type box that you would have seen in stores. This box is an oddball. And it's like, it almost looks like one of those mail order type boxes. Like somebody ordered this through just a mail order catalog. Kind of like some of the video game controllers and stuff that you would have been able to get for like in television and whatnot back in the day, to where just being a generic little box or package or whatever. And somewhere on here it doesn't say reconditioned, it says remanufactured, which maybe this has been gone through, which in a way that's good if it's been checked out by whoever, because it looks like it maybe got plugged in a couple of times, maybe, if that, or maybe not at all. You didn't know if it was working. So I tested it out yesterday when I got home and hooked it up to my Model 1 Genesis. It's right off the bat, this only works on the Model 1 Genesis. It says in the instructions that they were going to have a cord that you can just mail order for the newer Sega Genesis, but I don't think this lasted long enough. All you can do is just check online, check on sites that talk about this, and see if that ever happened, because this did not last long. And I can see why. But he says just very expensive for the time, and oh, you did not get your money's worth with this. There was a lot of disappointed people and kids back in that day, man. This came out in '93, and when you look at some of the virtual reality stuff, like my Vive and whatnot, on how it's made, they still use the same concept, just much better technology. We just didn't have it back then. So they were trying. They tried. Let's keep it at that. They tried. And then yesterday they tried to burn out my retinas, because I don't even think I lasted 15 minutes. It's bad. Otherwise, let's see what it say. Yeah, it just says this product has been tested and remanufactured. Otherwise, say, man, it looks like just a mail order type box. It says Victormaxx, Virtual Reality Stuntmaster, where the one you'd see in the stores was your typical box where it's hyping it all up and showing somebody wearing it or whatever the hell. So maybe this is a rare box. Don't know. Maybe the box is worth more than the contents inside. Don't know. Don't care. Now it's in my nerdery. Otherwise, out of parts and pieces, luckily, the thing that it's missing, easy to replace. I've got a cat toy that might fit. It's just this stick that makes you constantly do the no, no, no. Please don't burn out my retinas anymore. No. Otherwise, yeah, this is just important. Read all directions carefully before you hook up your Victormaxx. Yeah, it's saying if you own a new Sega compact design game console, we now have a new multi-out adapter available that will enable you to use the Stuntmaster. Please send check or money order for $5.95 for shipping and handling. So they act like they're just having you pay that, and then they'll send it to you. think I do have parts list here somewhere. That's just FCC regulations compliance. This is that weird freaking letter they'd send with it. Confidential resume, Victormaxx, prepared by his terrorized staff. It's just got all this weird nerdy type stuff to try and make it amusing. Let's see. There's the back. Okay. Warranty. Parts list. Yeah. Tracking tube and clip, $3. That's all it is a tube with a clip on it, so easy enough to replace that. And for the Super Nintendo, $15. If you lose the cable, Sega, same thing, $15. AC adapter, $12. If you lose the thing that you're looking at to make your order, $5. Which, I guess, yeah, I don't know how you'd order a new manual if you've lost your manual. Otherwise, yeah, you could order parts. Anyways, original manual there, and then all the other crap. Cool to have all that. This one's for the Genesis, still bagged up. The reason I think this either just maybe got tested by the person that had it, said it was a guy that had it, so adult owned. But just doesn't look like it ever got used. Everything's just too freaking clean. Anyways, pretty much the same hookup on both cables. Just like a modern VR for ones that you have to hook up to the computer directly. Like my Vive, you got the cable coming off of it, decent length. This one you do have to sit pretty close to the game system, but decent length. It's like you'd have your game system set up on a coffee table and you'd just be sitting on the chair or couch in front of it. This isn't the full length. But you plug this into the cable hanging off of the VR helmet, and then plug your power supply into here. And this would go into the back of the Genesis where you normally hook up your AV cable for composite video. And then this plugs into controller port 1. This one you plug your controller into, so it's basically a bypass. And that's where I didn't try it, I didn't think about it at the time, but if you want to just get rid of that whole freaking having to turn your head thing and just have it just as a wearable monitor, maybe just don't hook up the controller, just plug in your controller like you normally would into the Genesis and just have it as a wearable monitor. So at least while you're burning out your retinas, you're not having to do this at the same time. Otherwise, there's that one. Could say the same thing. Looks like it never got used. This is where I'm going to say do at your own risk, because the resolution on this thing is abysmal. So I don't know if it hurt it or not. I'd have to get online and look up what the resolution output is on a Super Nintendo and a Genesis and then compare. But obviously the systems weren't out yet and they used the same cables, so possibility there. Otherwise, same thing. Plug your power supply into here, this into the cord hanging off the helmet. Then plug this in the controller port 1. plug your, from what they say, original Super Nintendo controller into this, and then plug this into the video output on the back of your system, which, say, man, I'm kind of afraid to try because I don't want to kill this thing. I don't know. I'll have to see if I can find a video of somebody trying it on different systems, but see why you wouldn't be able to plug this into the back of a Nintendo 64 or a GameCube, being it's the same freaking kind of port there. So somebody may be able to answer that for me if it'll work or not. Or would that be too freaking hard on that thing? Trying to process that many more lines of color or whatever the freaking hell. Which right off the bat, it's maybe a little bit more, like about that much. I'm going to round it off at 200 by 80 on the resolution. There are new collectors out there, which I agree. Can't really say Game Boy Color or anything, or any of those newer ones, but you definitely say that it's like strapping a freaking Sega Game Gear to your face and trying to look at that little screen, which not only is already not the greatest on picture quality, but blurred, because it's got a magnifying glass in front of that. So I have no idea how big the actual screen is on that thing, but they got those magnifying glasses, which that's what I was going to bring up. I don't know where you'd buy one. Maybe like Staples or something. You usually see them in like mail order catalogs for like ones for senior citizen type stuff to help with like reading a book. But I've noticed a lot of them, that'd be one of the things that's bad on it, to where either it's gotten discolored, as in the plastic's gotten yellowed to where it's useless and it just throws off all the colors or whatever, which fortunately I don't have that problem, or it's just cracked or whatever. It's just plastic for the magnifying glass. But yeah, I think they were just used for like reading books or whatever, just to make the print larger. I don't know how big they are, but if it's big enough, I don't see to where you could get one of those if it's about this big, of like a rectangle, and just kind of look it over and start at the point where the focal goes out, as it's the usual round rings or whatever on how they do it to magnify, and just cut it to fit. And either make it more magnified or whatever, man. It can't get much worse. That's some of what gives the blur. They just magnify it a little bit too much. That's where I'm wondering if that's a little screen in there. It may be smaller than what you'd have in a Game Boy or whatever. Just don't know. Power supply here. Still in its box. Typical, not too ginormous, but chunky power supply. Anyways, on output, 6 volt DC, 700 milliamps, or just 700 mA. On polarity for the plug, barrel style plug there. It's positive to the inside, negative to the outside. That's where some of you guys were, it threw me for a bit where I had to redo the video, because I was looking at it, it's like, how the hell? Because you're not used to seeing this female in loose, you're used to seeing it in something, as in the game system or whatever. So it just plugs into that, which they made very heavy duty. Gotta say, these cords are pretty freaking heavy duty. also, for anybody who finds a system loose, have everything hooked up. Don't turn on the game system, just have everything hooked up, and then plug in everything and turn on the game system. I guess they're saying that if you got the game system hooked up or whatever, and you plug in something, you can fry it. I don't know. Otherwise, it could be one of those things where it's just touchy. So anyways, once again, 6 volt DC, 700 milliamp, positive to the center, negative to the outside. So easy enough to find a power supply, or just, if you absolutely have to, just get on eBay and find one that's for parts that still has all this stuff. Like I say, man, not the longest cord, but a nice heavy cord. Other than the plastic they used on this thing's a little iffy, I mean the cords and everything are nice and heavy. You don't feel like you're going to snap the cord off or anything. It's heavy. Which the only thing I got to do on this is they got some padding stuff stuck on it. It's the damn glue. I have no idea how long this sat in the damn box. And I live in the desert, so got to re-stick it. Otherwise all the padding is good, but man, this thing's just in awesome shape. And it does get bigger. It fits me. It's got quite a bit of play there on the straps to where you just squeeze the little clamps there and then you can extend it out. It's kind of just kinked up because, like I said, it's been in that box for a while. And headphone. Other than padding up here for your forehead, top of your head, for your nose, absolutely no padding. It's just smooth plastic, so depending on the size of your nose, it's going to be comfy or not, which I'd say probably not. Then on the bottom of it, you got an adjustment for brightness, tint, reset button I didn't use. I got to read up on that and see exactly what that does. Maybe it to where if something glitches out or whatever, you can press that and it just turns it on and off. I don't know. And then you got some dip switches here, where it's just 3 of them. Anyways, it's just 1, 2, 3, and then you got on and off. For Sega Genesis, you want the number 2 switch turned on and then 1 and 3 turned off. For Super Nintendo, all of them turned off. Then below that, sensitivity, I think that has to do with maybe the movement, to where I'm figuring it's just an adjustable whatever in there, so it could be, just allows you to set the sensitivity for that. It's this thing. See, there's a hole in it, so I say, man, it's just a plastic rod with a clip to clip onto your shirt. In fact, there's one guy that got it to work. He just got a long wood dowel, long enough to go clear down to his belt, and just had it stuck in his belt. So you're more using your whole body, because it doesn't work the greatest when it's just clipped here. So it's probably the short little freaking dowel or whatever, or just get a longer one, have it hooked up to one of your man boobs or something. I don't freaking know, because it's probably still not going to work good. Otherwise, yeah, that's what does your left and right movement, and then you use the controller to go up and down. Which the game I used on it to test, being Sega Genesis, and this one they list was Space Harrier 2. Say, yeah, it was playable, As long as you don't want to read anything. Like when I went into the settings and stuff where you can like play some of the music or set how many lives you want or difficulty and stuff, you can't even read it, man. It might as well be Grail. It's just way too freaking small. Some of it's just the pixelation too, just throws off any text unless it's really big writing, like where it comes up saying Space Harrier 2. But yeah, any of the small text for directions or whatever, press this button, press that button, yeah, you're just gonna have to do that from memory. Like I say, man, it's... I don't see why that wouldn't work. You'd have to take this thing apart and take out the old one and just size it up. But yeah, being it's one of those magnifying glasses that just has the rings going just outward from the center, man, I think that would work. If you can still find those things for helping you read books and whatnot. This is not that big. You can see there. But you would have to open this up, take that out, and then just measure it up. And hopefully be able to find one that's the same thickness. That would be the other problem. Fits a little loose. It's got some wiggle room there, but can't tell how thick that is. Might even be able to find something like that, like a Walgreens or CVS pharmacy. That might be another place you'd be able to find a replacement for that. I say just cut it to fit. Otherwise, man, for what it is, cool. Just a cool freaking display piece, man. See, man, on resolution, it's really bad. It's like the games are just playable, but I could tell if I tried to get past that 50 minutes, and a lot of it was just tinkering around with it, trying to get the color right and everything, which that was okay. It's just, I don't know how good the screen they have in it is actually, because they got the magnifying glass there, so it kind of throws it. So you really don't know how clear it is before it's magnified, where that's what's making just enough blurred where doesn't just strain the crap out of your eyes, it's definitely going to give you a headache. I definitely agree, man. I mean, everybody used to bitch about the Virtual Boy. That is playable as long as you don't have any seizure problems or whatever, because anybody who's got problems with seizures, or I've had photophobia since I was a little kid, which I'm intolerant to bright light, but colors don't bug me too much. I got a bit of sensitivity, but not enough to really make it bad. It's mostly I can't tolerate bright light. So, depending on the kid or whatever, they used red, which, for seizures, that's one of the worst colors. Especially when it's flashing at you, which there's one game, I think it's Teleboxer or whatever or something, where it literally flashes red at you. I can see where that made some kids freaking black out or seizure or whatever, which is why they put a bad name on the Virtual Boy. But when it comes to the actual graphics, for what it is, it looks good, man. Like my Mario Brothers type game on it or whatever, looks good on it. It's just all in red. This, hook up your Sega Genesis to your TV, aim it towards one of your windows, and stand out on the street and try and play it, and you'll have an idea how bad this is. It's just... man. Now for the crazy thing. It was a little bit over. I gotta find the website and save it. There was one that was really giving all the information on it, on who created it and how long it lasted and whatever. But man, the price just, damn. I gotta look up how much my Sega CD originally cost back then. This was like just over $200, which is just crazy expensive for '93, man. It was an expensive thing, so probably not that many people were able to afford the damn thing, let alone want to keep it after paying over 200 bucks. I'm sure a lot of these got returned. So there you go. You complain about game systems nowadays on loading time or just quality and stuff. Nah, man, things have gotten way better. And there's a few videos of people having this hooked up, which I can't do. I just don't have the room here, where they're showing kind of how the quality is, where they're just getting as close to it as they can. Say, man, to the naked eye, it's just enough to where you definitely mess with your eyes. In fact, when I find that website, I'll just add it to the description so you guys can read up on it, on the history of it and whatnot. And anything else that may turn up while I'm hunting around on this. Because I've heard a lot of people like to get these and modify them, either to work on other game systems or maybe change out the little video screen, make it better. I don't know. That's what I was going to start looking up today, being I just got the thing. So I want to see what people have done to this thing when it comes to modifications to try and make it better. Because it's definitely one of those things that would be hackable. So, have a good one, everybody.